Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Decree of Dominion podcast with your host, Diamond D Money 1996. Got a special guest here for you today on the wonderful mental health awareness series. This is going to be episode 4 of the mental health awareness series. And so, got a really special guest here out of New Jersey, Mrs. Nadine Jasmin. And so I'll let her introduce herself.
Hey. Yes, author Nadine Jasmin, also known as MJ from the Dear Sis podcast, and I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So appreciate you joining us here for this special episode. And so we're going to get right into it, y'all. Again, this is the Mental Health Awareness Podcast. And so we're going to go back and forth and break down different stigmas within the Black community as well as the society as a whole. And so first thing I want to say, just with the climate, I know we had a little Facebook, Instagram outage today. And so first thing I want to address here on today's episode, what is your opinion on the stigma of the mental health within people being dependent on social media or being dependent on the facade in regards to their life on social media?
One, I would say that it's a lot of businesses that occur on social media. So I'm not going to automatically target mental health in that because people do conduct businesses throughout social media because that's their only platform. And at the same time, it is low in cost. And, of course, it works because everything is generated to online. So that's one. In terms of mental health is concerned, I think that people overindulge in social media and they don't use it for what it's worth. And oftentimes we get lost in that. And that's when the issues start to come around, or we start doing let me say, the blame game, or something triggers us to revert back to something that happened years ago. And a lot of times we don't even know we have mental health problems until it's recognized from someone else or we're in great denial about it.
And
So
so,
that's what I could say about the social media whole aspect when it comes to rather staying alive or breaking down. And if you're so addicted to it, not to say that it's a mental health problem, but I believe that's often people's high. It's a drug. Some drugs you can escape, some drugs you can't shake. You have to remember that we have a device that's in our hand all the time where we're just eager to know more and eager to find out and eager to be nosy, slash pay attention or not pay attention or create some type of chaos because that too is our high, regardless how you slice it or dice it. That's my
right.
views on that. Yeah,
That's a
definitely.
definitely a great viewpoint. And do you feel that? I also feel that as individuals, once you develop a habit, it takes 30 days to develop a habit, and I feel like we associate ourselves with whatever drama is going on Facebook. You might not even know the person personally, but like you said, it's that high of, oh, let me see what they posted, let me see who comment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's definitely a high, and it's something that we all feed off of, rather it's news, rather it's gossip, rather it's sports, relationships, religion, food. You can even just be into, let's say, guns or riding a motorcycle or a bike. There's something that triggers us that will keep us there. And guess what? That's how the world grows. If it was back in the day, we'll still be on the flip phones, which I personally like, and also the Blackberries, which I personally like, and still reading a newspaper, which I still do. But times have changed, so people have evolved and elevated. But during those two, evolving and elevating, it has now become an addiction.
It's a great viewpoint, definitely. And so, with you being more experienced and kind of growing up with not having, social media, how do you feel that has helped businesses or maybe your businesses develop? Like, how have you seen that impact of the change, if you will?
For myself, anyone that knows me personally, I don't even own a television. I haven't owned a television in about 26 years. So I don't watch TV. So computers, I'm in love with, of course, my cell phone device, and I read. I read everything. I read the back of the shampoo bottles. Like I'm that person, right? When I'm on the toilet, I'm reading something, or I have my phone in my hand and I'm reading the news because I'm not so attracted to the visual aspect of it. I just want to be able to read it and have a better understanding and comprehend it for myself. And if there's certain words I don't understand, and of course now they have new devices where you can look up words and they'll give you the breakdown to everything. That's what I'm more attracted to. So that's why my conversations are different and my vocabularies are much stronger. And of course, I do slang and I do all the bullshit that everybody talks when they're amongst their friends, but I know how to turn it on and off. And I think it just has a lot to do with being mature and developing a sense of style when it comes to you. That's it.
It's definitely. And so, when you kind of look at society as a whole, you have, the older generation and you have, this new upcoming generation. How do you feel about, you know, a lot of people kind of say the newer generation is, oh, you guys are too into the cell phones. Y'all don't go outside no more. Y'all don't, you know, how do
That's
y'all?
just the new wave. That's just the new wave because again, time has changed. Of course, I would love to still be on a porch braiding somebody's hair or playing jacks or chewing bubble gum, but that's not the thing anymore. These kids barely want to go outside and ride bikes. They barely want to go outside and sell newspapers. What else is it? Remember ice pop icicles or anything like that, anything fun, lemonade. They still kind of do the lemonade. I'm not going to frown upon that. They still kind of do the lemonade, but I find that that's where all their friends are on social media. They want to know what's going on because people are easy to convey everything on social media versus telling you face to face.
Definitely, definitely. And do you feel like just, and then we'll move topics from the social media, but just on the social media standpoint, real quick, how do you feel about the individuals that kind of have that fake life on social media or kind of portray themselves to be a certain way, and then when you see them in person, it's like you're nothing. It's
Well,
kind of a show.
that's where the mental health comes in because something is not clicking or something is not stimulating them. And their high is off of being a copycat and watching other people because he or she may not be getting the attention they desire or need at home or amongst their friends. And when you see them out, a lot of times they're introverts. They don't know how to say hello, but their safe place is social media because they're entitled to do all the things they want to do in their mind. And that's when the mental illness comes in because that's not true. But sometimes with mental illness, you don't understand how to separate the two. So that's where it gets a little hairy.
Do you feel so do you feel like with the different generations, do you feel like social media is like just kind of that go-to excuse, or that, oh well, it's because I'm young, I got to do social media, or do you just feel like
Absolutely. It's an outlet. Absolutely. Because people are committing suicide. People are having sex on social media. People are giving blowjobs on social media. They're beating their kids on social media. They're getting high on social media. Now, on the flip side of things, people are getting proposed to. They're celebrating life. They get saved, because I'm a believer, so they get saved. They have family functions that they in love with. It's a mixed batch. I'm telling you, it's a mixed batch, and it depends on who you're talking to, and it also depends on how you were raised. So it can go all types of ways.
kind of like that double-edged sword, like you choose your way?
Absolutely,
So it's like that.
absolutely. But at the same time, you choose your way. But social media is the outlet where they can be like, I can have my way.
And that kind of segues to the next topic. What I want to talk about is How do you feel about the entitlement of today's society in regards to the mental aspect of it?
Nobody's entitled to anything. I haven't met one person that's better than me. Not
Awesome.
one. Regardless of wealth, regardless of status, regardless of where you at, where you not so much where you at, excuse me, where you are in life. It's just more so a ego booster to me.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that, like you said, that high or that outlet of, hey, on social
Absolutely.
media, I am the best, and nobody can tell me otherwise. But then when you really look at reality, it's like we're all human. We're all, we all bleed red. We're all the same. God
We
created
are
us all
all the
equal.
same. Unless you poop different from me, unless you eat different from me, then I no.
And so,
I don't get it.
right,
Unless I've been in a bad car accident where I have to wear a bag or well, feeding I haven't seen anything different with feeding. Rather I'm being hand fed or feeding myself. It's still going into my mouth. But in other like with other situations, no. Nobody is better. I haven't met anybody that's higher than anyone. No. That's a myth to me. I don't get myself caught up in that because again, that's another mental health disease to think anything outside of that. No. Mm-mm.
so the caveat to that, for those individuals, I know like we did mention suicide earlier. I actually had a, a football teammate last week. He actually had took his own life a day before his birthday, this past Friday. And
Wow.
so, to the caveat to that, there's a lot of just, I've had multiple businesses and met many people with marketing and, mental health. And the stigma, there's a lot of people that mentally they look at the social media, they see the people with the putting on the facade of the nice cars, nice houses. You can have a hot wife and you can also do whatever you want, or nice, six pack husband that pays all the bills and you just sit at home and get your nails done and don't have to cook, clean, nothing. And, there's a lot of people that have that negative mental health with thinking like they have that automatic assumption that those people on social media are better than them. What advice or what counsel would you give to those that are kind of struggling mentally with self-esteem or issues with like comparison game?
I say when you're struggling with stuff like that, which I love, I'm glad you brought this conversation up. Surround yourself with people who are doing exactly what you want to do, but you're moving like a snail, or you don't know how to get involved. Get inside groups, people that's going to motivate you and push you to the next level. Also, be true with yourself, but it's kind of hard to be true with yourself when you're in that state of, I don't know what to do next. I have suicidal thoughts. But at the same time, if you're still somewhat grounded, you can get in front of someone. You can make a phone call. You can have someone reach out to you. You can reach out to someone that you may admire and say, yo, I love what you're doing. What can I do to not so much be like you, but be on the same wavelength of you? Like for myself, I have many people reach out to me. You know this for yourself because inside the group that we're in on social media, many, 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 oh, you inspire me. You're dope. You're this, you're that. And guess what I do? I, I'm still the same person. I still operate the same. And I just pour into them and show them love. Sometimes I might be a little tired, but they will never know that because they didn't come for that. They didn't come for me to be tired. They come to me so I can talk to them and we can have this dope ass conversation and talk about podcasting and talk about life and what did you do and how did you do it and what do you do when you're feeling sad and down. But if you listen to my show, everything I talk about myself is in my show. So yeah, you have to surround yourself with I wouldn't say movers and shakers in the beginning, but people that you see that inspire you, that's local, that you could reach out and touch. And then not so local. And I'm not even talking about celebrities or anything like that, because that's a bit far fetched. And then sometimes it isn't. It depends on your approach too. But I think sometimes we have to do the work as well and stop feeling sorry for ourselves.
So you said a lot of good things. The first thing you said at the beginning of the conversation was I want to challenge my viewers to seek higher counsel with whatever space that you're in. So if it's podcasting, uh, advice from higher counsel on those that have come before you and those have kind of already laid the groundwork. If it's sports, Michael Jordan, he didn't become who he was by, hanging out with his friends that didn't play basketball. He's got the good trainers, got the good coaches, was surrounding himself with peers that were, trying to achieve the same goals. You always want, like she said, you want to not necessarily, you don't have to try to get LeBron James' number and ask him how he did it, but you do want to, surround yourself with that sacred space. And even with the mental health, surround yourself with people that you want. If you want a healthy marriage, maybe you should have friends and colleagues that have healthy marriages. If you're in the club with the same single guys and girls that you've been hanging out with since high school that can't keep a man or can't, stop being promiscuous, you're not going to have a happy, healthy, you know, faithful marriage. And so we want to make sure you do that. Another thing you said with doing the work, just like in the Bible, it says, work without faith without work is
It's
dead
dead.
faith. And so
Yeah,
you want to just make sure that what you're trying to decree for yourself, you want to make sure you have the mental capability, but you have the willingness to put in the work to achieve that.
absolutely. Absolutely. You said something funny like some girls want the guys with the great bodies. So, my dude that I'm dating, he has a great body. He's a great guy. He takes care of me. We take care of each other. And people look at me and they'll be like, "Oh, she's attractive." But my attractiveness is has nothing to do with my looks. I think it's just more so my personality. And I believe that my personality is on point and my looks are just a bonus. So it's all in the head. It's really all in your head and how
Right.
you want to play that out.
And
Definitely.
so that's a good another segue into a conversation. I feel like, and if you guys are tuning in, make sure you check out episodes 1 and 2 of the mental health podcast. But in episode 2, I did speak about, you said something really good there. Your personality is the reason that attracted your now significant other to you. So
Correct.
you walked in like, oh, I'm dope. I know I'm dope personality
Hmm.
wise. And
Hmm.
so just with the social media topic we talked about earlier, a lot of what you're saying is, hey, I have that confidence of mentally, this is who I am. And if you're not rocking with who I am, then kick rocks. And with the social media, I feel like you said, with the people sleeping with each other and doing all kinds of things, I feel like just social media, both men and women, because it's not just women,
Hmm.
we kind of put that facade on the looks. You got to have the nice, body as a woman. You got to have the curves and the bust. You got to have the makeup on fleek. Guy, you got to have the six pack. You got to be laying in the bed like Drake. You got
Oh
to
God, I
have,
don't know about Drake,
right?
but okay.
But you gotta have the whole package, and you discount the. I think in society, just especially in today's age range and group, as a whole society outlook, I think we severely diminish the importance of the vibe and the good space of a person's personality. Um,
We do. We do. We do. We definitely do. And oftentimes yeah, we do. I don't even want to say oftentimes. We just do. Because I'm the type of person, to know me is to love me. And when anyone meets me, I BS you not. When I walk into a room, I've seen it with my own eyes. I turn it from day to night just by walking in. I don't even have to say hello. And the moment I say hello, the whole room lights up because that's what I'm giving off. My energy is just so powerful within my own right. And I'm not even coming in better. I might have had a shitty day. but I know what I want to give to someone so they won't have a shitty day like I did.
It's great you mentioned that, and I feel like with that, what are some tips? We're speaking to right now. I want to speak to the women on that are viewing the podcast, because I just think having a strong woman with that personality. So many times you just see, especially on not even just social media, just I could be at work or I could be out at the store, out at the mall with the on the playground with the kids, and just looking around, you can kind of see a lot of us are just look defeated. They'll post on social media like, "Hey, I want to find a good man," or you know,
But you have to be a good woman. And sometimes it has a lot to do with your background. It does. I came from a two-family home. My stepdad, my real dad, he bounced. And my stepdad, he came in at the tender age of 8. I was 8, my brother was 7, and my little brother was 5 at the time. And he came and he made a huge difference. And at that time, could we have turned another way? Yeah, we could have, even at a young age. Kids kill at young ages like that. But we decided to give this man a chance and to see what he was all about. And I just feel like it's about taking chances. And we're afraid because we're very comfortable. Watch this. This is another thing with mental health. Your mind will play tricks on you. We're very comfortable at staying in that place of hurt and feeling sorry for ourselves because that's the place where we have control. And that's, guess what? That's bullshit. It's bullshit. You have better control when you're happy. You have better control when you're alive. You have better control when you're inspiring others because it's a domino effect. Yeah.
definitely. And so, what she's speaking on, viewers, is the art of you reap what you sow. You treat somebody how you want to be treated. The energy you give off is the energy that you know let that be the energy that you want somebody to give you. If you want to have a great day, you're not going to come in to work cussing everybody out and expecting that you're having a great day. You're probably gonna have a
Mm-hmm.
bad day because you're making everybody else have a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing with karma's real as well. You might be having a good day, you start yelling at somebody, you might still have a good day that day, but the next day you might have the worst day and they might be happy, and you might like, well, why is this happening to me? But it's probably because you've
Absolutely.
been yelling at people all week.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you just have to tread lightly and be very careful. And yeah, this is good. This is really, really good. This is definitely good.
And
I'm glad I
so
got the opportunity to talk to you because I
yeah,
know you've been trying to get with me for such some time now.
yeah, I know. And
Yeah.
for the viewers out there, just know that don't podcast on YouTube.
No, no. YouTube is the worst. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no. Don't podcast on YouTube. I think podcasting is a marathon, so you definitely have to take your time, understand who your viewers are, your listeners, your audience, and what you're trying to convey. What's your content? Who are you? And why should we listen to you? What makes you different from someone else?
And then speaking on that real quick, um, what are some tips that you would give individuals viewing the podcast, not just on podcasting, but overall life, on how do you take what your skill set is and stay original without being a copycat? Because I know we talked about the copycat with the social media earlier.
Life skills. Life skills, because nobody can wake up the same way you wake up. Life skills. Just doing something totally different. They can't copycat that. They can't walk like you, talk like you, anything. They can't. Mm-mm. There's nobody in the world that's getting up at 101 every day to use the bathroom. We're all not getting up at the same time. That's virtually impossible. So when it comes to copycats, it's just like they are not original. You have to have your own originality. And people are afraid to step out their comfort zone and allow mental health to attack them because they believe something in the back of their mind is telling them to do the same or not do anything at all.
And so it's like that status of limbo. Like, you don't want to stay in it.
Laziness, not limbo, lazy.
Well, that's even worse. La- Laziness and lethargic. Sloth is one of the seven deadly sins.
Yes, it is.
Being
Yes, it
lazy.
is.
And so,
Yes, it is.
for the viewers out there, you just want to make sure, whatever you set your mind to. My mom always said, growing up, whatever you set your mind to, you can do. And so,
Absolutely.
you just want to make sure you're not letting anybody hinder your growth, and just make sure again that you're seeking higher counsel. So I just encourage every viewer out there listening to seek higher counsel, be your own original self, and make sure that you continue to abide by your standards, because like I said, you're your own original person, and you have the ability to
Be great.
achieve.
Yeah, you have the ability to be great. You do. You have the ability to be great. And we could leave with this. Well, we don't have to leave with this, but I want to share this with your platform that the reason why I love Muhammad Ali so much, or Clash's Clay, is because he knew that he was great, right? But every day he told himself that he was great. And as he began to perform and do his thing in the ring and have interviews and talk to people or whatever, he let them know that I am the greatest. I am great. So people started mimicking that. So now when we recognize him or if we hear him, we'll be like, oh, yeah, he's the greatest. Because he put that inside of him. He told himself that he was. And he let the world know that he was, whether we believed it or not. So I tell myself daily that I am the best. So guess what people start doing? Oh, she's good. She wanted the best. She wanted the best. Oh, mom, even my children, mom, you wanted the best. You're the best. People look up to you. That's because I look up to myself. And I believe in a higher power. I believe in God 100%. So, yeah.
And so, one last thing,
Uh-huh.
before you tell people how they can find Dear Sis podcast, what are some last key points and tips that you can give the viewers on, positive affirmations and,
Oh,
uh,
yes. Yeah. Know your worth. I'm a firm believer of that. Know your worth. I often say to my daughter, leave after the first lie.
no, that's a good one. Leave after the first live. That's what she
leave
said,
after the
y'all.
yeah, leave after the first lie. Understand that you matter regardless of what people think or say about you. You're no better than nobody else. You're just great inside of you. And just be open minded. Be open minded. Be open minded. And try not to judge. I judge every day, right? But that's just one of my sins. But I work on it every day too. So it's becoming less and less and less of me.
So, like I said, working on sins, that's definitely, don't just call yourself out. Like a lot of people say, oh, I'm fat, I got to go to the gym. Well, don't just not eat right and never go to the gym, because
Yeah,
then,
right.
um, one last thing I'll share before we close remarks and benediction here is, when I had a marketing business. My mentor would always say, don't set a goal knowing you're not going to do what it takes to reach the goal, because then what you're doing, you setting yourself back further mentally than if you would have never did a goal and just did it. And
Correct.
so, whatever you want to achieve in life, I want to encourage all the viewers, if you're like, hey, I got to lose 20 pounds in 3 months, let's do 8 pounds per month. Break it
Yes.
down. Then you'll have 24 and you actually went over, and then you'll be, ecstatic on your progress and growth. But, don't say, hey, I'm going to quit smoking. And then a week later, you done bought 2 packs. And then now you're mentally further back than you were when you said you first stopped smoking.
Absolutely.
And so, can you tell the viewers, how they can find Dear Sis Podcast and what platforms to
Dear
reach you
Sis
on?
Podcast is everywhere. Dear Sis Podcast is everywhere. You can just Google Dear Sis and I'll pop up. Yeah, all platforms. Instagram, social media, of course, which is Instagram. Facebook, Instagram, and I'm also on TikTok, but I'm not heavy on TikTok. You could definitely find me on Facebook mostly. That's where I get my great joy because I
Awesome.
want to be able to educate other people to be dope just like myself.
Awesome. And so, just some closing remarks. Be your original self. Know your worth. One of the greatest things she said was leave men and women in relationships, situations, slips, entanglements, whatever you may call them. Leave after the first lie. Have your positive affirmations, making sure you're becoming the best version of yourself. Appreciate all the viewers tuning in today for this wonderful episode with author Nadine Jasmin of Dear Sis Podcast. Hope you guys have a great night and tune in for the next one.